Every year there's as much excitement around the IPL as there is around the IPL auctions, because that is where teams sometimes spend a lot of money to buy services of players for that one aim, the IPL trophy. This time around there was a transfer window as well. That is why we've collated a list of the top buys/transfers for every franchise in IPL 2020. Here's a look. Mumbai Indians in every IPL boast of a very lethal pace attack, and that's largely down to every year that one man, IPL's leading wicket taker Lasith Malinga. But this year that essential cog in the wheel is going to be absent for the Mumbai Indians. He's opted out for personal reasons. That leaves a gaping hole in that bowling lineup, which turns your gaze to a transfer that Mumbai Indians made in that window. They traded in Trent Boult from the Delhi Capitals, and that one move may just save them this season, because Trent Boult is a seasoned IPL campaigner. He's played for 3 sides, SRH, KKR and the Delhi Capitals, and his numbers are not bad. Look at that economy rate. This after he almost compulsively bowls inside the power play. He's got a very good Yorker as well, and him alongside Jasprit Bumrah may just make up for Lasith Malinga in this IPL. The CSK are always seasoned, they're always on the money, and not one move for them is not thought of. And yet the build up to IPL 2020 for them has not been ideal. Suresh Raina had to leave the biosecure bubble, Harbhajan Singh has opted out, add to that the COVID-19 issues around their biosecure bubble. It all seems a mess. But then there's one buy in the IPL auction that can serve them really well in this IPL, and that is the English all-rounder Sam Curran. Yes, the youngster one adds a different dimension to that bowling attack. He's left-armer, he's skiddy, he's got good variations, he's got an IPL hat-trick. Add to that his batting abilities. Sam Curran can act as a floater, he can finish towards the end, he can sometimes come in as a pinch hitter in that crucial number 3 spot. All of that is backed by Sam Curran's numbers in T20s. He hits them at a good strike rate and picks wickets as well. And there's experience of 69 T20 games as well. And if MS Dhoni's side has put 5.5 crores behind this man, you know MSD has a plan in mind. In what was really a smallish auction, KKR broke bank to rope in Pat Cummins and Eoin Morgan. And while Pat Cummins' price made all the headlines, Eoin Morgan may be the real deal for them. His recent form in T20s has been stellar. He averages almost 44 and strikes at, well, just a shade under 180. Add to that the confidence of having led his side to a 50-over World Cup. Add to that the fact that he's played at the KKR before. That KKR middle order with Eoin Morgan now looks something like Eoin Morgan, Dinesh Karthik and Andre Russell. He's won a World Cup a year back. Now he's at KKR. Maybe he's the man they need to bring home their 3rd title. Ever since the RCB let go of Universe boss Chris Gayle, they've had a problem with their opening partnership. So much so that Virat Kohli has had to leave his natural batting position at number 3 and promote himself to open the innings for RCB. And their partnerships at the top of the order have been aplenty. Parthiv has opened with Virat Kohli. Parthiv has also opened with Moeen and Hetmeyer. At one point, Virat Kohli and AB de Villiers opened together. It was getting all too obvious that there was over-reliance on Virat Kohli and ABD in that top order. They needed to break that, which is why RCB went ahead and bought Australian white ball captain Aaron Finch for 4.4 crores in IPL auctions. This gives RCB an option to open with either Finch and Parthiv, but if practice visuals are anything to go by, AB de Villiers might keep wickets for the RCB, which means that Devdutt Padikkal might get a go-ahead ahead of Parthiv Patel. And Padikkal has been in smoking form in domestic cricket of late, so that will be a spectacle to watch. In addition to which, Virat Kohli might return to his natural position, that at number 3. In the top 4, RCB will have Aaron Finch, Virat Kohli and AB de Villiers. Now that is one top order that is sure to fill fear in every bowling attack's mind. A change in name seemed to have brought about a change in fortunes for the Delhi Capitals. Last year, they made the playoffs for the first time in 7 seasons. And this year, they've only doubled up on their belief in Indian players. They traded in R. Ashwin from Kings XI Punjab, and Ashwin is an IPL legend in his own mind. He binds oppositions inside the power play while ensuring that he picks up wickets as well. And if you think he does that only inside the power play, he's got a great record even in the middle overs. And that is where Delhi Capitals will need him, because Amit Mishra's wicket-taking prowess has been on the wane of late, which means that R. Ashwin will play a crucial role in binding oppositions even in the middle overs. And if he can do that on slow, low-turning tracks in the UAE, Delhi Capitals have a real chance. IPL UAE Kings XI Punjab. If you have to complete that sequence, you know the name that you have to put in there. Glenn Maxwell. And of course, Kings XI Punjab didn't know that IPL 2020 would take place in the UAE in entirety, and yet they paid 10.75 crores to bring home Glenn Maxwell again. And that goes on to show you what Maxwell brings to the table. And in the UAE, in IPL, he's a different beast. Last time he was there in Kings XI Punjab's shirt, he scored 300 runs in just 5 games. And that strike rate is just outlandish. With a new captain, new coach, and perhaps a new vision for the Kings XI Punjab, Glenn Maxwell can maybe revive those old memories of the 2014 season. And maybe this year, take them one step further. Rajasthan Royals have a solid overseas bunch. They've got Ben Stokes, Jofra Archer, Joss Butler, and the man for all seasons, Steve Smith. And yet, after Ajinkya Rahane's transfer to the Delhi Capitals, the one area where they lacked in was an experienced Indian player in their ranks, and that is who they went after in the IPL auctions and brought home Robin Uthappa, who is vastly experienced in the IPL. Over 4,000 runs at a nice click at 177 games. Add to that the fact that he can keep wickets as well. And then add to that the fact that he can mentor those youngsters in the Rajasthan Royals camp. He seems to be just the perfect fit for RR. The Sunrisers Hyderabad have always been a very cerebral side. They put in a lot of thought before buying any player at the auctions. And that shows. They've got an explosive opening pair in David Warner and Johnny Bairstow. They've got an enviable bowling attack as well. Perhaps the one area where they lack is that middle order, where the only name that stands out is that of Manish Pandey. That is why this year, they've banked on a lot of young talent, and one of those names that is said to have been handpicked by VVS Lakshman is the J&K all-rounder Abdul Samad, and he is one explosive batsman. Have a look at his numbers. Samad scored the most number of runs for Jammu and Kashmir last year in the Ranji Trophy. He also happened to hit the most number of sixes for any batsman in that season. Add to that the fact that his strike rate of almost 113 in that season was the highest for any batsman who had batted for more than 300 deliveries. Samad seems like a perfect fit in that middle order. If Manish Pandey can play that anchor role, Samad can come out and destroy bowling attacks. Of course, IPL will be a big pressure situation, but if he can stand up to all that, we can see a new kid on the block. Those were what we thought were the top buys for every franchise in this IPL. You've got a different list? Feel free to send that over on any platform at Cricbuzz.